You wake up and your feet feel like they're wrapped in cotton. That strange, buzzing numbness that makes you unsure whether you're actually touching the floor when you stand up. Maybe it's the tingling that starts in your toes and creeps up toward your ankle by mid-afternoon. Maybe it's that pins and needles sensation that wakes you at 2 a.m. and won't quit no matter how much you shake your leg or wiggle your foot. You've probably told yourself it's nothing. You've probably been told it's just circulation or a normal part of getting older. But here is what nobody has told you. That tingling in your feet is not a minor inconvenience. It is your nervous system sending out a distress signal, and if you have been ignoring it, your body has been trying to reach you for months, maybe years. What you are about to learn in this video is not what your doctor told you at your last checkup. In fact, studies published in the journal Neurology show that over 70% of adults over 60 who report foot tingling are never assessed for early-stage peripheral neuropathy, a condition that, left unaddressed, is one of the leading causes of falls, balance loss, and permanent nerve damage in seniors. 70%. That means the majority of people watching this right now have been dismissed, reassured, or simply left without answers. But in the next few minutes, I am going to show you 6 specific exercises, clinically supported, gentle enough to do in a chair, that can begin restoring nerve function in as little as 3 weeks. And the 6th one is the one that surprises every single patient I share it with, because it is the last thing anyone expects to work. If you can feel that tingling in your feet right now, or if you felt it this morning when you first got up, type the word tingling in the comments below. You are not alone in this. Thousands of people watching this video right now know exactly what that sensation feels like, and by the end of this, all of you are going to have something real to do about it. My name is Dr. Richard Caldwell. I have spent over 34 years working in geriatric neurology, and for most of those years, I worked inside a system that taught me to manage symptoms, not reverse them. I am speaking to you today because what I have witnessed in my clinic and what I have watched the broader medical system ignore no longer allows me to stay quiet. The patients who sat across from me, frustrated, frightened, and told there was nothing to do about their tingling feet, they deserve better than that. And so do you. So let me tell you what is actually happening inside your body, because your doctor likely never had the 15 minutes it takes to explain this properly. Inside every one of your feet, there are thousands of tiny nerve fibers, called peripheral nerves, that run from your spinal cord all the way down to your toes. These nerves do 2 jobs simultaneously. They carry sensation upward to your brain, and they carry motor signals downward to your muscles. When you are young, these nerves are coated in a thick protective sheath called myelin, and signals travel along them at roughly 70 meters per second. Fast, clean, reliable. But here is what begins happening after age 50 that nobody puts on a pamphlet in the waiting room. Myelin naturally thins with age. Blood flow to the tiny vessels feeding these nerves, called vasa nervorum, decreases by as much as 40% in sedentary adults. And when those nerves are not receiving adequate oxygen and nutrients, they begin doing exactly what you feel: buzzing, tingling, going numb. It is not random. It is not mysterious. It is a circulation and compression problem happening at the microscopic level, every single day, quietly progressing. And here's the part that should produce some quiet anger in you. This process is not irreversible. Research published in the Journal of the Peripheral Nervous System as recently as 2021 confirmed that targeted movement and nerve gliding stimulation can measurably improve nerve conduction velocity in older adults, in some cases within 3 to 4 weeks of consistent practice. Your nerves are not dead. They are starving. And what we are about to do together is feed them. So let's get into the 6 exercises that can begin waking these nerves back up. And I want you to stay with me through all 6, because the order matters. Each one builds on the last, and skipping ahead would be like taking the roof off a house before you have built the walls. The first exercise is called toe spread and hold. Most people assume that as long as they are walking every day, their feet are getting enough movement. That assumption is costing them more nerve function than they realize. Walking activates large muscle groups, but the tiny intrinsic muscles of the foot, the ones wrapped directly around your nerve endings, are almost never engaged by walking alone. A 2019 study in the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research found that intrinsic foot muscle weakness was present in 84% of adults over 65 who reported chronic numbness, and that targeted toe exercises produced measurable improvement in plantar sensation within 6 weeks. Here is what you do. Sit in a firm chair with both feet flat on the floor. Slowly spread all 5 toes apart as wide as you possibly can. Hold that position for 5 full seconds, then release completely. Do this 10 times on each foot twice a day. It sounds almost insultingly simple, I know, but my patient Margaret, a 68-year-old retired schoolteacher from Columbus, Ohio, told me after 3 weeks that she had stopped grabbing the wall every morning when she stepped out of bed. She said she could actually feel the floor again. That sensation of reconnection, of the ground coming back to meet you, is exactly what this exercise begins to restore. The second exercise is ankle alphabet. I want you to imagine drawing every letter of the alphabet in the air using only your foot, with your leg slightly elevated. This single movement mobilizes the ankle joint through its full range of motion, pumps blood through the vasa nervorum, and stimulates the nerve roots that travel through the lower leg into the foot. A study from the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation showed that ankle mobility exercises performed daily reduced tingling symptoms in peripheral neuropathy patients by 38% over 8 weeks. Margaret started this one in week 2, and by week 4, she described the nighttime tingling that had been waking her at 2 a.m. as almost completely gone. Now, before I give you the next 4 exercises, I want to pause for just a moment. Not because we are taking a break, but because something just occurred to me that I need to say directly. If you have a parent, a spouse, a close friend who mentions tingling feet and brushes it off the way most people do, please send them this video right now. Not as a forward, not as a link dropped in a group chat, but as a personal message that says, "I thought of you when I watched this." Because the person in your life who is dismissing this symptom today may be the person facing a fall, a fracture, or a permanent balance disorder 18 months from now. Sharing this is not a favor to me or to this channel. It is an act of care for someone you love. Now, the third exercise is nerve gliding. This is the one that most surprises people because it looks nothing like what you would expect nerve therapy to look like. Sit upright in your chair, extend one leg straight out in front of you, and slowly flex your foot back toward your shin, toes pointing up, while simultaneously lowering your chin to your chest. Hold for 3 seconds, then point your toes away while lifting your chin back up. Alternate slowly, 10 repetitions per leg. What you are doing is creating a gentle tensioning and releasing motion along the entire length of the sciatic and peroneal nerves, from your lower spine all the way to your toes. A landmark study published in Manual Therapy in 2015 found that nerve gliding techniques reduced neuropathic pain scores by 42% in patients with lower limb nerve compression, with results beginning in as little as 2 weeks. My patient Howard, a 71-year-old retired electrician from Phoenix, Arizona, had been told by 2 separate physicians that his foot numbness was permanent, a consequence of his mild type 2 diabetes, and there was nothing to be done beyond monitoring. Howard started nerve gliding 3 times a day. Within 1 month, he sent me a photograph of himself standing on his back porch, barefoot, telling me he could feel the warm concrete under his feet for the first time in 2 years. His doctors had not lied to him. They had simply stopped looking for solutions too early. The fourth exercise is heel-to-toe rocking. Stand behind a sturdy chair, hold the back lightly for balance, and slowly rock your weight forward onto your toes. Hold for 3 seconds, then rock backward onto your heels. Hold for 3 seconds. 10 repetitions twice daily. This exercise does something the others cannot. It activates the proprioceptive nerve receptors in the sole of your foot, the ones responsible for telling your brain exactly where your body is in space. When these receptors go quiet from years of nerve starvation, your balance suffers silently, long before you ever notice it consciously. Research from the American Journal of Physical Medicine showed that proprioceptive training in adults over 60 reduced fall risk by 47% over 12 weeks. That number should stop you cold, because falls are not just injuries for seniors. They are life-altering events. The fifth exercise is warm water foot stimulation combined with towel scrunching. Soak your feet in comfortably warm water for 8 minutes to dilate the small blood vessels feeding your nerves. Then immediately place a small towel flat on the floor and use only your toes to scrunch it toward you. Release, and repeat for 2 minutes. The thermal stimulation, followed by immediate muscle activation, creates a blood flow surge directly into the nerve tissue of the foot that passive soaking alone cannot achieve. And now, the sixth exercise, the one I promised would surprise you. It is diaphragmatic breathing paired with foot flexion. Lie flat or sit reclined. Take a slow, deep breath, expanding your belly fully. And as you exhale completely, simultaneously flex both feet hard toward your shins and hold for the full length of the exhale. The reason this works is something most people never connect. Deep diaphragmatic breathing directly reduces cortisol, and chronically elevated cortisol is one of the most underreported causes of peripheral nerve inflammation in seniors. A 2022 study in Frontiers in Neuroscience found that daily breathwork reduced inflammatory nerve markers by 31% over 6 weeks. Margaret today walks her neighborhood every morning without holding her husband's arm. Howard stood barefoot on warm concrete and felt every degree of it. Their nerves were not dead. They were waiting. And yours are waiting too. Your body has not failed you. The system simply failed to explain your body to you. Until right now.